Hello and welcome everybody to our stability and stretch class. I'm your health fitness specialist, Quinn. Today, we're going to go a little bit slower pace, working on a lot of mobility and a lot of different movements and really hammering in some full body stability. Okay, so we're going to have a nice long warm up with our kneeling lunge, our Cossack lunge, our quad rocks, cat cow, and shoulder retraction, working from the ground up. Then we're going to go into our little workout here with a single leg balance to reach, squat to extension, lunges, plank rotations, bird dogs, a plank to pike, and a lateral pillared bridge. Whoa. Okay, next up, after we go twice times through that circuit, we're going to hit our cool down with a hamstring stretch, working into different areas of the hip, and then working through our calves, our shoulders, and our arms. So hitting those pretty commonly tight areas of the body, making sure that everything is nice and stretched out for the weekend. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna get down on one knee into our kneeling lunge here. So keeping that belly button tucked into the spine, chest nice and proud. We're gonna lunge that knee forward, driving the knee out past the toe. Really trying to press that heel down into the ground and collapse those hips down towards the heel here. Driving that knee out, hips down to the heel, and trying to press that heel into the ground and extending back. So giving a little bit of a rock back and forth. Nice, even pace, trying to extend that leg straight back. Keeping those hips square, stretching into the hip flexors here. Couple more. And extending out. Hey Heather, thanks for hopping in. We're just getting started with our warm up here with a couple of kneeling lunges. Just as I was switching sides. So maybe hit a couple on one side and then get to the other side so you can get both warmed up here. Going through a little bit slower pace of a workout here, really trying to hammer in full body stability for our workout today. Trying to drop those hips down towards the heel on a nice diagonal line, pressing that knee forward out over the toe. Nice and even, really trying to open up those hips. A few more here. And coming back out. All right, next up, we've got our Cossack lunge. So bringing our foot out to the side, hips still square to the camera. We're gonna lunge out to the side, driving that knee back up. And pressing through. Nice, even pace. Trying to keep those shoulders and hips square. Really opening up the inside of the hip there. Couple more. And switching sides. Squaring our hips, keeping that weight over the middle point of the toe, sucking that belly button into spine, chest nice and proud. Moving back and forth. A few more on this side before we move into our quad rocks. And relaxing out. Good. Next up, we're going to add an adductor portion to this quad rock. So getting on our hands and knees, extending one leg out. We're going to rock back into the heel and come back forward. Really trying to get that foot out to the side so we can feel that stretch through the inside of the hip. Moving back and forth, getting those hips nice and loose. Nice and even. Rocking those hips back towards the heel, keeping that belly button sucked up to spine so that when we come up, we're in that nice tabletop position, and switching legs. Rocking back and forth, opening up, maybe holding a little bit at the back if we're feeling tighter on one side. Back and forth, really giving ourselves a chance to open up those hips. And good. From here, we're going to do our cat-cow. So working our way up from the hips into the spine, we're just going to pull the spine up, sucking that belly button towards the ceiling, and lowering down, curling the head back, chin comes up, and moving back and forth, making sure the hands are directly underneath the shoulder, moving through that tabletop position. A few more. And good. Last one here before we hit our workout portion is going to be the shoulder retraction. So hands out in front, fingers interlaced. We're going to pull those shoulders low and back like we're squeezing an orange in the middle of our back, keeping our chin up, eyes forward, pushing through and pulling back again, giving a little hold through the back, relaxing forward. Belly button sucked to the spine, pressing back and forth. And relaxing out. Okay, next up we have our single leg balance to reach. So we're starting our workout here. Single leg balance to reach, we're going to pop one foot out in front with the toes pointed up towards us or you. From here, you can grab like a shelf, a chair, really anything to help you balance a little bit. And you're going to use your opposite hand to reach down towards the toe, driving the hips back. So we're not just lowering ourselves down through the back, but actively keeping that planted leg straight, back straight, folding at the hips, reaching as far as we can, and touching back up. Now, if you're starting to get a little comfortable, try and get away from that balancing crutch and touch that foot, toe, or get that reach as far as we can without putting the foot back down, like I just did. Couple more on this side. Really trying to lock in that balance all the way from the ground up through the hip and standing tall again all the way through the shoulders. Switch sides. Nice, even pace, controlling that movement down and back up. Really trying to grab the floor with your foot, so to speak. Really create that strength from the ground up through the leg. Couple more. And done. All right, next up, we have our squat to extension. So we're going to get our feet about hip width apart. We're going to keep our hands up by the shoulder here. We're gonna squat down into a squat, come up, and as we come up, we're gonna extend our hands up above the head and pop up onto our toes. So we're getting full body extension all in one motion. As we come down, almost like we're jumping straight up for a rebound in basketball or blocking the ball in volleyball. We just want to extend those hands and toes all at once. Give a nice quick pop up, come back down. Couple more. Last one. And done. Good. Next up, we have our lunges. Now we're going to stay stagnant for these ones to really focus on the stability of the movement here. So we're going to start with our feet spread like this, lunge forward, and come back up. All right, now for this, I want you to try and keep that weight over the midpoint of the toe or of the foot and have your knee track straight out over that second toe. So it should just be passing right in line with that second toe. As you come down, gentle tap of the knee and back up. Couple more. And switching sides. Keeping that weight over the midpoint of the foot. Again, just like we were in that warm up, trying to drop those, trying to drop your hips on a straight diagonal down to that ankle. Nice, even drop forward, come back up. A few more on this side. Tracking that knee over the second toe. And back up. Good. Next up, we're going to get into a little bit of shoulder, upper body work. We're going to do our plank rotation. So hands down on the mat, feet come back, splitting a little wide. From here, we're going to switch up onto one hand, hold up at the top for about 5 seconds, come down, rotate to the other side. Switching back and forth on that 5-second hold. Keeping that weight directly over the middle of the palm, not on the fingertips, not on the heel of our wrist, but right over that midpoint of the palm. Nice, even pace. Couple more. Nice and even, keeping those hips up. And down. Good. Next up, we're going to get into our bird dogs. So, practicing that cross stability of the hand and the knee. Getting our hands directly below the shoulder, knees directly below the hips. We're going to extend hand and knee out, holding up at the top for 25 seconds. So really finding that middle point, sucking that belly button up into the spine, getting that 50-50 balance between the hand and the knee, finding that connection from fingertip to toe, and staying nice and extended out. Few more seconds and switch sides. Extending that hand and foot all the way out, getting nice and flat, sucking that belly button up to spine. Getting that 50-50 split through the hand and the knee. And lowering back down. Very good. Next up, we've got our plank to pike. So popping up into our pillar position with on our hands and our toes. And we're gonna rock back, pressing the toes into the ground, into our pike position, and fall forward, bringing the chest over the hands, then driving the hands through the ground, rocking back, swinging forward, bringing that chest back over again. Nice, steady movements, keeping that core balanced, those shoulders nice and strong. Just rocking back and forth. Trying to squeeze that orange through the back as we come back forward, keeping those shoulders in a nice neutral position. Couple more. And done. Good. Last one of our circuit, we're going to do a lateral pillar bridge. So laying down on one arm, getting our elbow below the shoulder, either hopping onto our knees or extending the feet out. We're going to pop those hips up and hold, squeezing those hips up towards the ceiling, trying to get the hips nice and level with that shoulder down low. So you're really squeezing through those abdominals here, keeping your shoulders and your hips open, not rotating too far open or too far forward closed, but nice in that middle point. And switching sides, flipping over, getting those hips up off the ground. And holding. Almost there, a couple more seconds. And lowering down. Very good. Standing back up, we're going to go through our single leg balance to reach. So 1 foot down on the ground, getting next to our balancing crutch if we need it, toes pointed up, and leaning forward, reaching down towards that toe, pushing the hips back behind us, keeping that back nice and flat. Trying to grab the floor with our hand here, or with our foot, not our hand. Silly. Couple more. And switch sides. Getting those toes pointed up and reaching forward. Passing back and forth. Swinging those hips back and snapping back up to standing. Getting nice and tall. Feeling that stability all the way, oops, from the ground up through our hips. It's a challenge. It's a hard one. That's why we got it first in the circuit. And rest. Good. Next up, we have our squat to extension. Okay. So feet hip width apart, getting into that ready squat position, driving the hips back and popping up, extending up onto the toes as we bring the hands up above the head. One quick motion, exploding up, balancing up onto those toes. Couple more. And finished. Good. Next up, we have our stability lunge with our feet starting spread. Finding that nice middle point. You want both. These stability classes, man, I need more of them. Finding both of the midline on both feet. So you want almost slightly just like right next to each other on either side. If there's a line running down the middle, your feet would be on either side of the line, not too far wide, not stacked on top of each other. From here, lunging out forward, tapping that knee down and coming up. Keeping that weight over the midpoint of the foot. Belly button tucked into spine, chest nice and proud. Couple more. And switch. And driving that knee forward, down into the lunge. Rocking back and forth. Nice press forward and back as we get a couple more here. And finished. Good. Heading up into the shoulders, we've got our plank rotations. So getting our hands down directly below the shoulder, popping those knees up and twisting up towards the ceiling, holding and swinging back down, getting a nice 5-second hold on that shoulder and switching sides. Finding a nice calm pace to move back and forth. Swinging those arms up, pressing the ground away through the hand, switching back and forth. A couple more. And rest. Good. Next up, we have our bird dogs. So getting the hands directly below the shoulders, knees below the hips, slightly spread, and extending hand and foot out, holding up at the top, sucking the belly button to spine, connecting fingertip to toe, creating that nice flat line, finding that 50-50 stability. A few more seconds. And switch sides, extending out, sucking belly button up, connecting finger to toe, creating that nice flat line, pressing the ground away, 50 through the knee, 50 through the hand. A few more seconds, and done. Good, next up we have our plank to pike. So getting those hands directly below the chest, we're popping those feet back, knees come up and driving through the hands. We're rocking our hips back, driving the heels into the ground and swinging back forward, holding and rocking back and forth and swinging forward again, rocking back for a couple more. And just moving nice and easy back and forward. And relaxing out heading into our lateral pillar bridge. Elbow coming down, either getting our knees or feet and popping those hips up, driving the weight through our elbow, pushing the ground away, getting those hips up to the ceiling, squeezing through the side of our torso. Creating a nice strong core here with our side abdominal muscles, our obliques really holding us up, pushing those hips up and away. And switching sides, flipping over onto the other arm, keeping those feet extended out, and driving the hips up. Squeezing through the side of our torso, getting those hips driving straight up to the air, towards the ceiling. Few more seconds, almost done, and relax. Very good, nice job, you guys. We are going to stretch things out for just a few minutes here. First one we're going to do is one of my favorites. You guys know it. It's the seated forward fold. So sliding the hands down the shins, we're going to go reach for the ankles. Use our hands to anchor our arms and our chest. Pulling those knees into the ground, we're going to lower the chest and collapse the hips as we stretch through the hamstrings. Trying to point those toes back towards us to get a little bit of an extra stretch. And starting our deep breathing. Releasing all that tension we're feeling. Trying to reach deeper and deeper. Sinking farther and farther into each stretch. And coming back out. Next up, for the sake of time, we're going to get a little bit of some shoulder and arm work in. So we're going to go cross arm or cross body arm stretch, swinging one arm across the chest, using the other arm to hug the elbow in towards the shoulder. Stretching all throughout the trap and the back. And swinging the arm down, crossing the other arm over, and hugging in. Taking deep breaths in and out. Very, very good. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. It's really a pleasure. Glad you guys could make it. If you have any questions, health, fitness related, feel free to shoot me a message, email, or on Slack. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to check out SharePoint for any other amazing classes or any other updates we post there. Keep it up, guys. Nice job.
Thank you.
Bye.